Welcome back to my channel, Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to another FanHome Build the Enterprise D. That's right, this is from Star Trek, The Next Generation. This is the largest metal and plastic Enterprise kit out there. Do not pass it up. Head over to FanHome today and subscribe to this build. I put a direct link in the description below, right here, and also above. Let's get started. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to another installment of the fantastic FanHome Star Trek The Next Generation build, the U.S.S Enterprise D. And it's the only kit of its kind in the Star Trek universe as far as part work kits go, and I highly recommend this. Head over to FanHome and subscribe to this build. If it's available, do it. I would highly recommend it. So I am currently working on pack 20 or issue 20, and in issue 20 I received 4 more stages, stage 75 through 78. And we'll go ahead and look at the magazine here first, and of course we'll look at the build instructions as we go along in this video. And of course the magazine is wonderful here because it's an episode guide, and if you collect all these magazines and hold on to them like I've been doing, you're going to have a wonderful collection of episodes from Star Trek The Next Generation. So we start off here with episode 4, which is season 4, episode 20, and that premiered April 22nd, 1991. What were you doing in 1991? Well, I was living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, stationed in the Air Force out there, and boy, a lot happened in the early 90s for me. Just returned back from Europe. Spent some time in Germany and Desert Shield over in the Middle East and such. So there you go. A lot of fond memories. And the episode is Cupid. Cupid, right? So once again we have Cupid here. And then season 4, episode 21, Drumhead. Season 4, episode 22, Half a Life. Season 4, episode 23, The Host. That's cool there. And season 4, episode 24, The Mind's Eye. We have Rick Sternbach's concept Type 3 phaser rifle. Pretty cool. Season 4, episode 25, In Theory. Season 4, episode 26, Redemption. And that's it. So let me go ahead and get the parts, the 4 parts packs that came with this pack, and have a look at them. For stage 75, we have a panel here for the battle section and more windows for the upper hull. Stage 75, more frame parts for the upper hull. Stage 77, more parts for the upper hull, and looks like a reflector for the battle section. And lastly, stage 78, more parts for the upper hull. Let's get started. And we'll begin stage 75 with the lower saucer, link it to the dorsal section at the lower rim. So we'll be doing some windows here. Installing panel on the upper saucer area. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Again, here's those parts. Let's get a closer look. AM, FM, and IM screws. We have some hull plating for the upper saucer. It is made of metal, and that's going to hold our escape pod covers. And we also have the edging for the saucer. Pretty nice there, represents the windows. Battle section, lower section. This is made of plastic. I love the very subdued paneling on this. That's what that looks like there. Escape hatch pod covers, 2 sprues of that. We have the little pod cover that covers the screw hole, and I'm going to put this aside for safekeeping. And then we have the blackout cover for the escape pod covers that go on the back side to keep it blacked out and keep the covers in place. Let's get started. This just shows you how the escape pod covers are installed on the back side here. Make sure that you have the little red line there going towards the bottom, the more wider part of the panel. Now we'll go ahead and put our blackout panel on behind those, and this will lock those in place. I'll be putting 2 AM screws into that. And the AM screws were put in, they're nice and tight. I also installed the end piece for the saucer. You want to make sure that it is flush with the top, and IM screws were used for that. And of course, this is what our panel looks like. So let me bring over the upper saucer area and we'll get this installed. Okay, next we'll install this panel, and it's the only opening that's left on the top of the saucer area here. And you'll note that it has a lip here. This lip will wrap around the edge. Okay, you don't want it to go on top of it, you want it to wrap around and insert like that. So bring it from underneath like I am at an angle, drop it down, and then insert the tab in, and that will work out perfect. We have 2 FM screws that go into that. I'll show you the other side after I screw it down. And this little cover panel, I'm not going to put it in, I'm going to put it away for safekeeping, but that will hide the screw. And that looks good there, nice and smooth. Go ahead and show you the other side. And right there's the other side. Notice how it wraps around the edge, and you want them all to do that. All the ones we put in. So just pay attention to that. Looks good so far. And there you go. So that completes stage 75. Let's head over and get started on stage 76. Stage 76, here's the parts. Stage 76 assembly, I'll add another large segment of the saucer's lower section and start to assemble the dorsal hull of the battle section. And I'm going to put the LEDs in place like we did before. Lock those in place. That's what will light up our windows. And then we'll go ahead and mount skeleton number 6, and note that it underlaps the other part of the skeleton. We'll put a screw into that. That's an AM screw. And then we'll finish mounting the rest of it with our BM screws and FM screws here. Then we'll take those LEDs, we're going to plug them into the board. And lastly, we'll go ahead and put our, looks like our clear window on here. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 76. Let's get a closer look. And here's a close-up of those parts. Here's skeletal frame number 6. And the 2 LEDs we're going to mount to it. The hold-down brackets for the LEDs. The windows for the battle section. AM, BM, and FM screws. Both LEDs are installed and secured down. These are wires 76D. Now I'll go ahead and mount this on the saucer. Okay, so the lower frame number 6 was installed. That's this right here. And I put the AM screw here in the middle. And then your FM screws went right here. There's 4 of them. Now making sure that all my wiring is out of the way. And then 8 BM screws went up above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. LEDs are still in place here. One right here and one right there. They tell us to make sure our navigation light, which is the white and green wire over here on the left, is tucked under this end piece of the frame for number 6. Okay, so I know it's kind of hard to see these frames outlined, but that's what they look like. Let me turn on the LEDs to make sure that they work. And there they go. These 2 here are the ones that I installed. They were plugged in on the board. Let me show you that. Okay, both of these LEDs that I just put in this stage were plugged in on this board right here and right there. Right there and right there. Now let's go ahead and work on the battle section. Here's our battle section, the lower part of it, and our windows themselves, the blacked out and clear. And it's simply just going to press fit onto the bottom of the battle section, just like that. And that's what that looks like there. Okay, that's all I do for stage 76. Let's head over and do stage 77. Looking good here. Stage 77 assembly. Connect the set of lights to the dorsal battle section after completing another portion of the lower saucer. And we've done this before, so I'm just going to show you this actually completed. Once again, still securing in some of the windows there. Installing some LEDs onto the reflector and screwing that down. And that will complete stage 77. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. And here's the bag of parts for 77. Let's get a closer look. Here's the deck panel, which is made of metal. Very nice there. Battle section reflector for the windows. Escape pod panels, windows again. Lower door ventral phaser array. And the blackouts and hold downs for the windows and escape pods. AM, BP, and CP screws, along with LED harness number 77L. Alright, so I went ahead and assembled everything off camera here, because you've seen this before. But all the blackout portions here that hold the life raft hubs in are screwed down with AM screws. And also the windows themselves, I use an AM screw on that also. And then the phaser array, that's using CP screws there. And that's what it looks like on that side. That looks good. So we're going to be installing that in the next stage. Yeah, I'll bring over the battle section, and I installed the reflector and the LEDs. I used my Scotch tape to keep the LEDs in place, and that's how they look, and that's how that looks there. So that's all I do with this stage. Stage 77. Let's head over and do the final stage for this video, stage 78. And here we are with the final stage for this video, stage 78. Here's the parts we received. Alright, so for stage 78, further addition to the battle section proceeds. A large slice of the lower saucer fitting securely into place. So we're going to install windows again on the battle section and do some bunch of windows on our deck panel. Put the reflectors in with the LEDs that we received. Both sides there. Screw everything down. Now we're going to go ahead and install everything on the saucer here. We're going to install 78G wire harness on our board, route it through the frames. Then we're going to take our wires that we installed on this panel, we're going to route those through the board and plug them on two different circuit boards. And we're also going to take, now we're going to take our 78G, we're going to plug that into one of the sides of this board here, and the 68E is already there. I'll show you that. We're going to plug that in, and then we're going to go ahead and install that panel on our frames. So let me get the parts. I'll be right back. Well, here's the parts for 78. Let's get a closer look. Okay, I'm sure you recognize the parts here by now. We have our windows. We have the window for the battle section. We have our panel here we're going to put windows into. That's plastic. The reflectors for it. BP FM screws. We have 3 LED wires. The first one is 78H. We just got one of those. It's a little bit shorter than the other two. And the other 2 wires are the same length. These are the LEDs 78G. We'll take our battle section here and we're just going to insert our windows on that. Okay, now let's go ahead and work on some of the panels for the saucer. I'm going to go ahead and show you my process for installing the windows on this deck panel. And you can see I have half the windows installed already. I need to put one more in. And what they tell you in the instructions is make sure you have a long edge versus a short edge on that window. And the long edge goes down away from the shorter side of the panel. So it goes towards the bottom of the panel, in our case here. So I got all my windows in place, on halfway done on the panel. I'm going to do a half at a time. So here's my reflector. I went ahead and installed the LEDs for it, and I taped them on with Scotch tape. This is LED 78H. That was the shorter wire compared to the other 2. So then I'm just simply going to put that down to lock those windows in place. And 4 BP screws will hold those in, and then I'll do the other side the same way. And you can see my screws are in. Turn it over, and that's how they look on that side. So I'll go ahead and do the other side, and I'll be right back. Okay, the other reflector is installed with the LEDs, and all the screws are in. BP screws, of course. They want you to bend the LEDs in a 90 degree up like that. And that's what that panel looks like from that side. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring the saucer over and start installing our panels. Alright, so I brought the saucer over. We're going to be installing it right here along this side, which is the left side of the bottom of the saucer, and it's also the left side as we look at it. And the panel that I put the reflector on, that was the longer 78G that I used for this. Okay, and this is 78H on the other side. And you can see they are definitely different sizes. Now I'm going to bring over the other 78G wire, and we're going to plug that in on the board. That's going to get plugged in on this board here. And we're going to route those wires like they show in the instructions, and I'll show you that here in a second. That goes right there. Right in the center on this board here. And you can see that right there. Alright, So my longer 78G got plugged in right here like I showed you earlier. We're going to follow that, and it's going to go over here to this opening that's to the left of the frame piece we put in. It's going to go under, and the first one is going to come out right below that LED we put in on panel frame 6, and that's that LED. Then the other LED is going to come out right beside it under the frame panel right over here. So we have those two situated like that. Now we'll bring over our panel and run the wires from it. Okay, we're going to bring over this panel right here. We need to run our wiring, and we're going to run the wire on the right here along the side. Okay, and that's going to run through all the way to our circuit board along the side here underneath. I'll show you that in a second. And then the other one is going to get fed in right here and run along here, okay, and go get fed in through that opening right there. Okay. Okay, let me feed those through and I'll show you where they plug in at. Alright, so the shorter 58H wire that I just fed through that light panel got plugged in on our circuit board here, and it was the only open socket in between a bunch that were already plugged in, and that's right there. It's hard to see, but that's it right there. And the other one, 58G, got plugged in right here on that circuit board. Okay. Okay, now we're going to take our wire that was already in place, our LED wire, 67E, and that's going to get taped down on this reflector. And then our 78G wire, the red and black one, will get taped down on this reflector here. And everything's in place now. You can see how those other LEDs are curved over, and it's in place. So I should be able to take and put everything where it needs to go. Okay, now I'll take this panel and insert that where it needs to be. All right, slide that together, and then we can slide those in the way they need to be. Okay, got everything put together. I'm not gonna lie here one bit, that was super hard to get that edge all lined up the way it needed to be, but it looks good so far. Put my 3 screws in on the end there, FM screws. So let's go ahead and light this up real quick. Yep, everything is lit up. It all looks good. So that's all I do for stage 78. It was a little bit of a bear getting this on there. It was tough. But the thing is to kind of lift up on it, insert the slots, put it down, lift up, put it down, lift up. I mean, it took some finagling, but I got it. Looks great. So, like I said, that completes stage 78. I will be right back. And there you go. That completes pack 20 or issue 20 for Build the Enterprise D. I'm having a fantastic time building this. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but I like a challenge, and it keeps the build very interesting as far as I'm concerned. I hope that what I showed you helps you out with your build, and all I can say is pay particular attention to how everything goes together and how it looks on both sides of the saucer as you start to put in your panels, making sure your front edge is overlapped the saucer on the other side like it should be, making sure all your lights work, you have no wires crimped or anything like that. So there's a lot to do and to remember about for this. And I would highly recommend this. If you get a chance to go ahead and subscribe to this, I put a link down below to FanHome where you can pick this up. So with that, stay tuned for Pack 21. When that comes, I'll get it built up and do a video. So if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button, everybody. Take care and live long and prosper.